Thank you very much, Shashank, and I'm very grateful to both you and Rajesh for giving me the honor of co-chairing this inaugural session for a number of reasons. Firstly, because it puts me on the podium with Jagdish, who is, of course, an icon for all of us. He was a storied figure for me before he and I met. I think it was in Argentina the first time. But since then, I feel entitled to say that we've become friends, and I'm extremely grateful for your friendship. Jagdish, I must say that I did not realize that your association with NCAER had been that deep and long. And from that point of view, in my first formal act after stepping down as DG, it is indeed very, very important for me that I'm able to share this podium with you. But let me also say that I hope that I won't continue to do this, and I hope that old habits won't die too hard. I mean, this still says NCAER, it should say something else. But it is a particular privilege to be doing this, because I think this conference does bring together so many of the things that have been important to me in my 10 years at NCAER. Firstly, the association with Arvind, because Arvind, as Shashank has said, has been kind enough to spare some of his very valuable time to help us get started together with Barry Bosworth on the India Policy Forum. And we've needed to support each other each time our kind of enthusiasm was flagging, or we felt that the task was impossible. So Arvind, thank you very much for being such a steady partner. But also, Arvind and I go back to Princeton a very long time ago. Secondly, it has certainly been an aspiration of mine as a DG NCAER to make NCAER some kind of a kind of pivot or a hub for research on India. And indeed, an important reason that I started the India Policy Forum in collaboration with Brookings was when I left the World Bank in 2000 to take up this job. I was puzzled and intrigued by the fact that in Brookings' papers on economic activity, that you had articles on Eastern Europe, Russia, people like Rudy Dornbusch who used to write about the failures of one stabilization plan after the other in Latin America. There was a transparency about what was going on in other emerging markets that was signally lacking on India. I'm very pleased to say that I think that the situation is transformed today. Indeed, this new job I've taken up as country advisor for the International Growth Center, that is a funding mechanism for research across sectors and in India as well. And I'm told that 20% of the research that is taking place in the thematic groups is today on India. And so, so therefore, I think consistent with the positioning of NCAER as an institution through whose portals many people in the craft of applied economic research have passed, I think it has been very important to me that NCAER be a convening forum for research being done on India, and this conference does symbolize, if you like, the generalization and the dissemination of research on India. And another theme, as Shashank had mentioned, has been international collaboration. It preceded me, as Shashank has mentioned, Lance Taylor, who was it, not Peter Petrie, who was it at Toronto we used to collaborate with? Peter Pawley, that's right, not Peter Petrie, but Peter Pawley. I think I can be forgiven the error. And then, of course, Rajesh had a conference with Michigan just before I started as well, in Rakesh's time. And I'm very, very pleased now that the association with Brookings, with NBER, with CEPR now extends to Columbia and the Templeton Center at Columbia that I'm sure that Jagdish is going to talk about. And finally, let me say it is a distinct pleasure that we are able to have Vijay here on the eve of his receiving the award of Padma Vibhushan. Vijay, you have always been such a supporter of NCAER by being on the IPF panel, by reaching out to Rajesh for the Finance Commission work. you really are, for us in India, an embodiment of somebody who values ideas, values the role of ideas in policy, and walks the talk, I think, in a very, very substantive way. Thank you for being here. So let me end again by thanking Shashank for allowing me to be here, because he is there, and for permitting me this honor of presiding or being a co-chair of this inaugural session. Without further ado, let me hand you over to the person you are really looking forward to hearing from, which is Jagdish.